what's going on, guys? I am here with my dear sister. Her name is Vanessa. Last time I let her introduce herself, but we're running low on time, so don't want to take too much time. Okay, so me and her are big fans of the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I'm sure since you clicked on this video, you probably are too, or you're Dibble. What we got here is we each got our own personal lists of ranking all the movies in the MCU from Iron Man 1 to Ant-Man and the Wasp. And we're going to start off 20th. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. So now we're going to get to our list. So starting off at number 20, the worst movie of the MCU. I'm pretty sure I already know what you're going to say. But in my opinion, the worst movie is Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, mine is The Incredible Hulk.
I don't get that.
I just don't like the Hulk that much. I never have.
Alright.
I mean, I didn't watch The Incredible Hulk until, this year, so...
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I'll give you credit where credit's due. I would like The Incredible Hulk a lot more if they brought back some of the characters. Literally, the only one they brought back is Thunderbolt Ross. Of course, they brought back Banner, but it's a different actor. And his personality is very different than the first one. Like, we kind of, in the first Incredible Hulk movie, you kind of couldn't even tell that he's a genius. Mm-hmm. It's just like, once they bring him into the Avengers, it's just like, oh crap, this guy has 7 PhDs. Were you ever going to mention that in the original Hulk movie? Because he can't even speak basic Spanish in that movie, even though he's purposely moved himself to a Spanish-speaking country.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I don't like is I don't like the CGI in it.
Yeah, the CGI was not that best. And also, I think that to this day is still one of the only Marvel fight scenes that happens in the dark or at nighttime.
Yeah, I don't like dark fight scenes. It's one of the reasons why I prefer Marvel over DC.
Yeah. Okay, so my reasons for not liking Thor: The Dark World is just how the tone is all over the place. The villain is very forgettable. I mean, I can't even pronounce his name when I'm reading it off the internet. It's like Malek or something like that.
I know Malachi or Malachi.
That sounds about right. But all I know about him is that he's a dark elf, and that at some point Odin had to banish him or something, and all of a sudden he's just back and he wants to destroy Earth for some reason. And literally don't remember a single bit of his plan, even though I watched the movie 4 days ago in preparation for this video. But yeah. Okay, so you want to move on to number 19 spot? I need to actually check this one because I don't remember what I have at 19. Ooh. I know what I have at 19.
Do you want to say yours first?
You can say yours first because I said mine first last time.
Okay, I chose Iron Man 2 as number 19.
I also chose Iron Man 2 as number 19. We got something together. You know what would be really ironic is if my next one is The Incredible Hulk and your next one is Thor: The Dark World. But I'll be totally honest, I have no idea what my next one is. But the thing about Iron Man 2 is they did a great job building Tony Stark's character. They did a great job building the Avengers. But the thing is, they had too many storylines going on, and Whiplash was not the best villain, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, I know he wasn't necessarily the main villain; he's just the main person that they fight. But still,
yeah, there was just so much storylines, and then they sort of developed one part of the storyline, and then they went on to something else and didn't go back to that other part. Yeah. So that's why I didn't like it that much.
I was very disappointed in Whiplash because I was really excited to see him, and then it just went downhill.
Yeah.
Okay, so want to go on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go on to the next one.
Okay, so I actually need to check my list because I don't remember what I have for this one either. Oh, okay, I know what it is.
Okay.
So for number 18, I have Iron Man 3.
That's what I have too.
Nice.
We're so
in sync. Perfect.
We're doing great.
No, in my opinion, Iron Man 3 is not a bad movie. I'm pretty the only movie in the MCU that I would say is not that great would be Thor: The Dark World, but other people actually like it. The only thing really that Thor: The Dark World has had going for it, in my opinion, is Loki, because Loki is
I love
epic
Loki.
and he's
Loki's
awesome.
Great. So there's that. But I chose Iron Man 3 because one, I just really don't like the character.
That's true. She doesn't like Iron Man. Literally, we'll be watching Civil War. Most people watching Civil War, they're a little both sides know she's full Captain America.
No, I just don't like him. I don't like his sarcastic sense of humor. And I think he's a little bit more of a relatable character because of his PTSD and because he has these bad traits, but he still does these good things. But I just don't like him.
Yeah.
And he's one of those superheroes where he's only really a superhero because he's rich and can make these things. He's like Batman, and I also don't like Batman, so.
You see, on the bright side, though, it makes sense for Tony Stark to be able to, like, make all these suits. They never do a fantastic job explaining how Bruce Wayne makes all the suits, because he's not necessarily a genius like Tony Stark is, and how he comes from a family of inventors and stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing about Iron Man 3 that was kind of depressing or whatever is what they did with the Mandarin. Like, that was terrible. Because they introduced this epic villain, and then he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm just an actor. I don't have anything to do with what you're doing.
I didn't like that. I thought it was a little funny, but he was like a good villain, and then they revealed that he was just an actor.
I do like the fact that they did that twist, though, but, like, if they didn't do it with the Mandarin, like, you could do that with any other villain, and I would have been okay, but the Mandarin's, like, my favorite Iron Man villain, and they just kind of ruined that.
Yeah.
And the line that I hate the most, and this really, like, settled me not putting it higher on the list or whatever, is when the bad guy is, like, on fire, and he yells, "I'm the real Mandarin," or something like that, and it's like, no, you're not. You're just some dude that has weird fire powers that I don't even remember how he got them.
I would explain it, but I feel like that's irrelevant to the
yeah.
plot.
Literally, their powers, though, like, it's so not explained how they do it or whatever. Their powers, for the most part, it's just like, oh, now, by the way, I can spit fire out of my mouth now, but I'm never going to use that again for the next, like, hour of the movie.
Well, it's explained.
Yeah,
but
it is.
You don't remember.
Okay.
Okay, next one?
Yeah, next one.
Which number are we on?
We are on number 17.
Okay. Number 17, I chose Thor.
The original one?
The original Thor.
Dang. I agree that I did not like the original Thor as much, but I do kind of like the whole, like, the scene with the hammer or whatever, with all the people trying to get the hammer up. Because that's, like, a huge thing from the comics, is only worthy people can pick it up, and they did a great job showing that only worthy people can pick it up.
I just didn't like it because, like, he has a great character arc, but I don't like egotistical people.
Yeah,
so
I did not like
there
him
was
that much.
That, and then it was just like, I don't know, I just didn't like it as much. It was a good origin story for him, I think. And I did like the characters introduced, although I don't like Jane. But I liked, like, the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif, and I love Loki. And I think he's a great anti-hero, but I just didn't like Thor that much.
My only thing is, Thor, like, most origin stories are or whatever, the first, like, hour is just exposition, which, don't get me wrong, I'm totally okay with a good origin story, but I did not like the way they did their origin story. And for me, for number 17, I put The Incredible Hulk. You see, I really think that The Incredible Hulk is hated for, like, no reason, because, in my opinion, Abomination was one of the better villains, but people always hate on him for, like, no reason whatsoever. And I think it's, like, what she said earlier with the CGI, but, like, they do a good job showing why the villain does what he does in The Incredible Hulk, so I put it a little bit higher than most people would. Next number. So, for number 16, I put the original Thor movie.
You're gonna hate me for this.
What?
One.
Go ahead.
Okay. I chose Doctor Strange.
You see, I actually kind of agree with that, though, because they kind of just showed him as, like, a conceiting douchebag for the entire, like, first, like, 20 minutes or whatever. And then it's like, all of a sudden, he's a wizard. We should feel good for him. Like, they did not do a good enough arc in the beginning or whatever. But I will admit, I still think that that's probably my favorite, like, fight scene or whatever at the end, is when he's just like, Dormammu, I've come to bargain, and he dies, like, 90 times over.
Not an actual fight scene, but I like that scene.
I love that scene. That's, like, my favorite scene from, like, any of the Marvel movies. That's, like, one of my favorite scenes. Yeah. Just because of, like, not only, like, because of the scene in the movie, but because of all the, like, memes and, like, jokes and stuff that have came after that.
Yeah. I just chose it because, one, he didn't have a good arc. Really, he didn't have a good arc at all. Jerk, very egotistical, and then suddenly he becomes a wizard and he's not so bad, and it just didn't really explain it that well. And then they're like, the special effects are really cool, I just think some of it's a bit much. And it, like, can be a bit, like, I just didn't like it that much. Yeah.
I will admit that they did a decent job with Mordo. I don't remember how to pronounce it. I want to say it's Mordo.
I think it's at least close.
His close friend or whatever. And then I do like the end credit scene or whatever, setting him up as a future villain.
Yeah.
Because in the comics, I'm pretty sure he's like only a villain. Because I do not remember ever reading a comic where he was a good guy. And seeing the weapons that they brought up like showed some like mystical superheroes that I would really like to see in that movie. And also, and I'll talk more about this later or whatever, I did like some of the magic stuff that they showed.
Mm-hmm. It was good, but it wasn't that good.
Okay, I already shared mine. I said Thor.
Yeah.
Same reasons I said earlier. The only one thing that I don't think either of us mentioned is they had some really weird camera angles that it's like, why did they do that?
Yeah.
Like, the camera is so slanted, and it's like, why? Like, it literally would have the same effect if you just did it straight up. Oh, and then the bad guy in Thor or whatever, not the bad guy, but like the Metal Man or whatever, that guy was kind of nice. I do like how they introduced Phil Coulson in that movie, though. Like, how they brought him into it. Oh, and that's right, they also introduced Hawkeye in the original Thor movie. I like the way they did that as well.
Yeah, I like...
And how they did that scene or whatever where Thor went to pick up the hammer or whatever, and everybody's just like, stop, I want to see this. And then he tries to pick it up and he can't. But I really like that scene, though.
That was a good scene. And I like Hawkeye, and I really want him to have a standalone movie. But,
honestly.
you know, he's like retiring.
I mean,
so...
they've talked of him doing a movie or whatever where he's training another archer.
Yeah.
For number 15, I said Captain America, the First Avenger.
Okay.
What did you say for number 15?
I said Thor: The Dark World.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Did you already say that one?
Yeah, I already said that one. That was the first one I said.
Yeah, it was. But do you want to explain yours first?
Well, I'll explain Captain America. The thing about Captain America that I don't like, they do a great job building his character as a scrawny person. The first hour of the movie, I really love. But what I hate is when he finally gets to doing war stuff, and they just kind of like montage through like a year or two worth of wars, and just get straight to the point where he's fighting Red Skull. And then another thing is him sacrificing himself or whatever. As much as I love that scene, it still like bothers me. That's like, you know, he probably could have jumped out or whatever just after he aimed it like at the ground. He probably could have jumped out or whatever and survived and been perfectly fine. But, you know, I'm not gonna critique that.
He was flying over ocean.
He was a super soldier. He probably could have swam to the nearest like civilization. Or even better, he was on the phone with someone. He's just like, okay, I'm gonna jump out and be in the middle of the ocean. One of y'all come get me. Like, he literally could have done that, but no. But, of course, if he did that, he wouldn't be in the Avengers, and it wouldn't be the same. So
he'd be dead.
Not necessarily. Oh yeah, well he might be. Well, actually, I want to know because I want to know how he grows old because I don't think he'll grow old as well as other people will. You know what I mean?
I don't think he's gonna grow old.
Exactly. I don't think so in the MCU because I'm pretty sure Chris Evans said after Avengers 4 he's officially done.
His contract's over, so you know.
It would be nice if he does live, that he has some cameos because that's the thing is, if RDJ or whatever, if Tony Stark stays alive throughout this Avengers 4 movie or whatever, I really want him to kind of be like how Nick Fury just comes and like brings the Avengers together or whatever. Because after Avengers 4, I still haven't heard a single thing about the next Avengers movie. And I'm thinking about it, I'm like, Spider-Man has yet to meet Black Panther. And those two are supposed to be two of the bigger characters in the newer Avengers movies that are coming up.
14?
14, yes.
Okay, for number 14, I chose Avengers Age of Ultron.
Ooh. We're going to talk about that in a second. Because I also said Avengers Age of Ultron for number 14.
We're on sync again.
We are in sync again. So, in my opinion, that movie gets way too much hate that it doesn't deserve. Because it was still a really good team-up or whatever. And there was a bunch of people who were complaining or whatever about how it's like Ultron's the computer genius or whatever. And how it's like he should have thought to be smarter or whatever. But you gotta think about his plan. His plan would have worked or whatever had he done what he wanted it to do. There's one thing. I love the characters that they introduce in that movie. They do a fantastic job at introducing new Avengers. And then, of course, the end credit scene or whatever, where they're about to say the iconic line, and then they don't.
I love that. And
They still have yet to say it. So I'm assuming that Avengers 4 they're going to say Avengers Assemble for once.
I hope so. But I really like the characters they introduced. Like Scarlet Witch is one of my favorite characters, and then I like Quicksilver. I just don't like how they killed him off so quickly and in such a stupid way. Like he was saving his sister, but he could have dodged bullets, and he's done that before in the X-Men movie. Obviously X-Men and Marvel are separated. What?
He didn't die saving his sister. He died saving Hawkeye and that little boy that Hawkeye was trying to save.
Yeah, but he also...
And he said, wow, did not see that's coming.
I love that.
That's a very iconic line. I like that line.
I love that line, but...
You see, my thing is, the only thing that I did not like about Quicksilver is every single one of his scenes, they would have been awesome if it wasn't for the fact that X-Men have already done Quicksilver scenes, and theirs were pretty much, for the most part, a lot better.
Yeah. I want him to be brought back.
Yeah. You see, because that's what I hate, is we never got to see the relationship of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver that much, and it kind of is sad how quickly he just went away.
Yeah.
And I do like how they share their backstories or whatever, and how they're just like, we waited in a they waited in their room or whatever.
Under the bed.
Yeah.
With a bomb.
For Stark to kill them, but they never did.
Yeah. That was sad.
That was sad.
That was very upsetting.
I like how they had the name drop for Wakanda. They introduced Claw. In my opinion, Ultron is one of the best villains in the MCU. And if they were to somehow bring him back just like, tricks on you, I've been hiding in the internet or something, that would be epic. And I honestly hope that they would do that for a future Avengers movie.
Yeah, I like Ultron. He's a good villain. I don't like that Vision was brought into existence because I hate Vision. I don't like him. I don't really know why, I just don't. He annoys me. And I really don't like him and Scarlet Witch's relationship. It just grosses me out.
I hate how they completely nerfed him in the Avengers Infinity War. How it's they literally showed how powerful he was in Civil War, showing that he was extremely powerful. And it's all of a sudden, it's he gets stabbed once, and for the entire rest of the movie, he can barely walk.
Yeah, he can't do anything, and it's just you have to kill him because he can't do anything.
And it's the material he's made out of. Can't you just regenerate it or whatever?
Yeah.
Because they've shown him doing that before, I believe. Yeah. What else do I have to say about that movie? Oh, there's something I want to save, but I'll save it for another movie. That I'll say later.
Okay. It's your turn to say?
Yeah, it's my turn to say. We're on numero 13, right?
Yeah.
Well, for number 13, I put Doctor Strange.
I put Ant-Man.
Oof.
Oof.
You see, I think Ant-Man's underrated, and the reason I think Ant-Man's underrated is because they're always there's a bald villain. He works for the same company that the Ant-Man's suit technology was developed by, and they're just it's just like Iron Man 1. But they also need to take into effect that the original Ant-Man movie, there wasn't just the antagonist that was Darren Cross. There was also how do I say this? The two main guy characters dealing with their problems that they have with their children and trying to be good fathers.
Yeah.
That's something that people never touch on when they talk about Ant-Man in these ranking videos. What I'm going to say about Ant-Man and the Wasp, just Ant-Man is I like the way that they have him struggling with deals, coming fresh out of prison, how he can't get a job. They do a fantastic job with that.
It's a very realistic movie.
It is a very realistic movie, and that's what people
Except for
don't
the quantum realm thing, that's not realistic at all.
Also, I do gotta admit, Darren Cross, the actor who did him, did a fantastic job. He was terrifying, he was menacing, he was a very good villain in my opinion. The only thing about him was his powers were not very good, and they didn't do a good job explaining how, oh, by the way, I've never put this suit on, but I'm a god when I wear it. Yeah. Okay, so are we going on to the next one?
Did you explain yours?
Well, Doctor Strange, we pretty much already talked about it. Next one?
Next one.
Numero 12, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I did.
Yes.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Same.
Seriously?
I also did Guardians of the Galaxy Volume
Okay.
2. You see, something I didn't like about Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and one of the few things I don't like about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, is some of the jokes that they do, they just, like, completely overplay.
Yeah.
Like, Taserface, yeah, it was funny, or whatever, in the first scene where Rocket's really bashing it, but they really had to have that chick from the Sovereign, or whatever, laugh when he said it. Like, I understand it's not the best name, but literally nobody was laughing about it until Rocket mentioned it, and all of a sudden it's just like, tell him, the man who sealed its fate, Taserface, and then the chick just starts laughing. It's like, I don't honestly think that's that funny.
Yeah.
And then there's some things, Drax or whatever, he doesn't have much of a sense of humor in Guardians of the Galaxy 1, but it's like, all of a sudden in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, he finds literally, like, everything funny. Mm-hmm. And they never really did a great job of explaining that. I mean, yeah, now he has a family or whatever, he's not as dark. But man, I got really annoyed of Dave Bautista's laugh after rewatching that movie because it's like one of the few ones that's still on Netflix.
It's funny that you got annoyed with this laugh. But I just like that it's a comedic thing when a lot of the other ones don't have much comedic qualities.
Yes.
But there were some parts where they just like completely ruined the intensity of a scene by cracking a joke.
Thor Ragnarok had that same problem in my opinion.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more when we actually get to
Thor
that.
Ragnarok
yeah,
more.
Same.
It was really good. But yeah, and then like it took so long to get to like the actual action.
Yeah.
Like they had the first little bit in the beginning, and then it was like, oh look, my dad is here. He exists. He's not a fictional person or an actor that I've imagined as my dad for a while.
Yeah.
And it was just like so weird. And then them like making the ball of magic or whatever, and then playing catch. I thought that was like so weird.
I see the behind the scenes or whatever. It's funny because they actually got to play catch or whatever, and there was something about Chris Pratt. He's just like, yeah. So today was just a regular day on set. I played catch with Kurt. I don't remember what his last name is at the moment, and it was pretty funny. Yeah. But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I really love the fact they redeemed Yondu because in the comics I love Yondu. And in the first movie, I did not like him that much, but they did a fantastic job redeeming him. And his death scene is probably like one of the best of like the entire MCU.
That was very painful to watch.
And
then his funeral was very sad, and I don't like that. I don't like sadness. You know
something I don't like or whatever about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2? Actually, no, I don't. It's not that I don't like this about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. The guy, Yondu's friend from the Ravengers or whatever, I don't even remember his name because I don't remember them saying it at all. Yeah. It's like Kraglin or something like that. I honestly don't remember what his name is because I heard it in a video once and I'm like, finally I can put a name to that guy. But they like kind of like teased that he was going to be in the future or whatever, and then the next time we see Guardians or whatever,
he's just not there.
Yeah, in Infinity War, he's just like nowhere to be seen, and they don't even like name drop him at all.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't recognize his name even if they did name drop him.
I like that character.
Yes, I love that character. The way he gets so happy or whatever when he sees the Ravengers show up for Yondu's funeral or whatever, and he just quickly goes and he like pounds his chest really hard. I love that scene so much.
He's one of like the people where I like call a lot of people adorable, even if they're old men, and well, not really old men, but like middle-aged men. Because old men are adorable. But he's one of the people I call adorable, and I just love him.
Yeah.
And I wish he was in it more. And I really hope he's in Volume 3.
I'm pretty sure he is going to be.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but last thing I have to say or whatever is I like the scene or whatever, like right after they just floated a bunch of people or whatever, and then Groot's trying to find his fin, and then he helps them out or whatever. And he's like, I didn't mean to do him, Groot and you, Captain. They killed all my friends. And it's like a very sad scene. And like you really see where that guy's coming from, where now he's helping him out.
Yeah. I also like the scene where Groot couldn't find the fin.
That was a hilarious
scene. That was funny. I mean, I love that scene. And we're going to ignore that Blake doesn't know how to speak.
Yep. Okay.
But I love Baby Groot. He's adorable.
Yeah. So are you good to get on to the next one?
Yep.
Okay. Is it my turn to say it?
Yep.
Okay.
What one are we on?
We're on 11, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for my number 11, I have Thor Ragnarok. Okay, in my opinion, it is a little bit overrated, and there are times where there's comedic moments where there shouldn't be, and something that I don't like is, and I'm pretty sure like the majority of people hate this, the fact that they kill off the Warriors 3 or whatever, and I think in total or whatever, they all had like about like 4 lines.
Yeah,
and the first two people had like. The first two people had
they didn't say anything.
Yeah, one of them
just really.
One of them said, "Who are you?" The other one said, "Where's Thor?" And then just they're both dead.
Yeah.
So.
But I chose Iron Man as my number 11.
Wow.
I really don't like Iron Man.
Dang.
And it just annoys me. Like the plot was much better than the other two, but I don't like Iron Man, and I don't like how he is. So, and I understand like it's the movie that started the whole franchise.
Yeah.
And it like, Robert Downey Jr. like this was his first big thing in a while after coming back from rehab and having all these problems, and then he plays this character who is a lot like him.
Yeah, he plays it perfectly.
He plays him really well. I just don't like him.
He's like Hugh Jackman's Wolverine or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like the perfect person to do that role.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm so glad that it's him. The thing about Iron Man or whatever that I really like is Terrence Howard. I mean, like, he was a really good job. And I love the way that they deal with him not being there in Iron Man 2 or whatever by having Rhodey's very first line. It's just like, I'm here now, deal with it.
Yeah.
Like, that was great. That was perfect.
Yeah. I like Rhodey.
Yes, I love Rhodey.
I don't like when they change actors, but I understand why they did that. And I do like the Rhodey they have now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You see, my thing, though, is I like it because he's like the kind of person who you would expect to see in an Iron Man suit. Yeah. And I understand that that's not really what the Iron Patriot or War Machine is supposed to be, but like, that when I think of someone in an Iron Man suit, I do not think of some big buff guy.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Terrence Howard. But I do think it's sad or whatever, the scene or whatever, where he's looking at that suit and he says, "Next time, baby," and then he never gets to wear it because he got Terrence Howarded.